Do you have texture skin too and are looking for ways on how to make your base look completely smooth? This video right here is the one for you. Yes, I'm going to teach you how to get from this to this. Hi everyone, my name is Lydia. I'm a beauty industry insider, and in today's video I'm going to teach you how to make your base look completely smooth, especially if you have texture skin. Now, as you can see, my skin, this is my bare skin, and it has a lot of texture. I have enlarged pores in this area. I have a lot of texture on my nose, and all of this is actually typical of rosacea. I have texture here. I have first wrinkles around my eyes and on my forehead here because next year I'll be 40. Frequently, I also have some bumps. As you can see, I have a tendency to break out around this area as well. So all in all, this is texture that it's normal, and even if it's normal, I wouldn't really like to emphasize. Let's put it this way. If I can disguise a little texture, it would be great for me, but the aim not to emphasize the texture, and in not emphasizing the texture, sometimes you make it appear a little bit smoother, because skin texture is actually very, very normal, and we must come to accept it no matter how this filtered world, the pressure from social media is. We must come to accept that this is our skin. I think a lot of people underestimate this, but a lot of our skin texture is given to us from the wrong skincare. Skincare is the first step, the basis of it, you know, strengthening that skin barrier, giving it the right nutrients. It's so important. For me, that starts with removing my makeup in the proper way and completely every night, or almost try to get it to every night, and using a treatment for my rosacea to try and preserve the skin barrier, to try to heal the skin barrier and not get it worse, and manage my rosacea symptoms. And for that, I use my Dermatica personalized formula. If you want to embark on this journey, even if you don't have rosacea and you have another skin concern, the good news is that I have a discount code for you. It's Lidia10, and you can get your first month of Dermatica custom-made prescription formula for £2.99, and the second one you get it with 10% off. In the morning, I always make sure I hydrate my skin very, very well. Of course, I never forget my moisturizer and sunscreen. The second step to make your makeup base look smooth is priming. There are a lot of different primers on the market. Some of them are targeted, or marketed rather, for skin texture, especially the ones that are targeted at pore minimizing. What happens very often with these primers though, they have silicone. So depending on the formulation, your makeup can glide on and so disappear very easily throughout the day, or you might need to reapply it. On my skin, for instance, silicones never last so long, so I need to reapply. And also they mattify. So if you're already using a mattifying or a matte foundation on top of it, everything can look very dry, it can look very heavy. So contrary to popular belief and contrary to everything you learn on the internet, the best type of primer is actually illuminating primers, hydrating and illuminating formulas. Now there are so many on the market. Let me show you some, and then we're going to apply it and you're going to see how much of a difference this makes. Primers like this one. This is the Pixi by Petra Flawless Beauty Primer. It's a hydrating glow primer, and it has this formula that contains very thick shimmers in it, so it's really, really, really shimmery. This is excellent at detracting attention from your texture areas because it gives that luminosity that just gets the attention of the eyes there, if you know what I mean. There are these kind of base. There are still illuminating bases, but the concentration and the size of the shimmers thinner and finer. I have in this case the Rare Beauty, what's it called? Illuminating primer, and this one has a different tone to it. It's a little bit cooler in tone. As you can see, here is the Pixi primer, and here is Rare Beauty, and you can see that it gives this light, but the shimmery particles are very thin. This is the more expensive option, but it's a very good one. Then we have the Glowy Fire Illuminating Primer from Catrice. This is a drugstore alternative. I'd say this is really similar to the by Terry CC. This is also illuminating. It has a little bit of coverage as well. It gives you a lot of hydration through watermelon extract. It's going to reduce your texture optically, obviously, by a lot. So here we have Pixi, Rare, Catrice. My favorite is this one from Catrice, actually. Another great one from the drugstore is always from Catrice. This is the One Step Skin Perfector. It's another one that has a slight tint to it and very fine illuminating particles. It's almost imperceptible, but it's there. And this is actually what makes it great for texture. And now here comes my favorite, is the Guerlain Météorites primer. This is amazing. It's a concentration of pearls, fluid base. One drop of this will help you a lot because the light reflecting particles of the pearls actually help a lot to diffuse light and therefore just erasing wrinkles, erasing pores optically, again, make everything that you put on top of it stand out. I'm gonna use this one today. I'm gonna use, one pump for my cheeks and nose. It's actually the area I need it the most. And as you can see, I'm finishing off with these patting movements. Another pump. I'm gonna apply it here and here. And I think you can already see the light. Oh my God. Let me look on my screen here. Oh yes, it almost looks candlelit. This candlelit effect is actually what is going to give you the illusion of having less texture. We covered primer, now let's get on to foundation, because I think this is a step that everyone tries to cover the texture with, and it's the most renowned one. The key factor for you to have a flawless, smooth base, the thinner the texture of your foundation, the better. You're going to have foundations that are thinner in texture, but have a very good coverage, and these are very modern formulas, I would say. And then some other foundations that are a little bit thicker in consistency. This is actually a CC cream that has a lot of pigment, is as pigmented as a high coverage foundation, and there are a little bit thicker in consistency but very high coverage and have some properties that smooth the skin, have bases like this one. This is, I would say this is an anomaly because this formula is more waxy, but it still applies in a very thin layer. The Nars Light Reflecting Foundation, this is a hybrid between foundation and skincare. So this is already very good because it contains those ingredients that are able to nourish and hydrate your skin. And so this alone can help with the texture. As you can see, it's very liquid, okay? It's very liquid, it's very thin in consistency, but it has a high concentration of pigment, buildable, medium to high coverage. Fantastic foundation, using very little at a time, and it will actually stay with you and last long. A very good drugstore alternative is this one, is the Catrice Nude Drop Tinted Serum Foundation. This is another skincare makeup hybrid. Great coverage, very thin, it's very liquid, it's a skin tint after all, as you can see. You can build it from light to medium coverage, and for me this is enough. It's said to be a radiant matte, but I would say on me, because of the skincare I use, it's more a glowy foundation that requires powdering during the day. Then we have Lancôme Teint Idole Ultrawear. This is an incredible foundation, incredible formula. It's another very thin texture and very liquid and fluid texture. And this, I would say, it's a perfect foundation. It's really a perfect formula because it's radiant matte, and it's really a radiant matte. I normally wouldn't go towards matte foundations, but this one is really suitable for every skin types. It helps to optically minimize imperfections, to optically minimize pores and texture, and it's Lancôme, you know, it's formulated for people who are not 20, so to say. So it's formulated for people who may experience signs of aging, whether it's the first signs of aging or they're already in their mature stage. So it's really formulated for texture itself, for fine lines, which means not getting into fine lines and emphasize them. So this is a very, very good bet if you want a flawless and smooth base. Another drugstore alternative that is more on the matte side but has niacinamide, which helps with smoothing and blurring the skin, is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. This is great, especially for photos. You won't see your texture anywhere for photos and videos, but of course in real life you can still see a little bit of texture because that's the beauty of skin. And then if you want something that is more, that has more of a hydration, SPF, and coverage all in one, you can definitely trust the It Cosmetics CC Cream, the original one. Today I'm going to show you the Guerlain L'Essentiel foundation, which is the unusual, so to say, texture because it's a little bit more of a thick consistency. It's thicker than the Catrice HD Liquid Foundation, and still, why is it so great on texture skin is that if you use it with a damp sponge, it looks flawless. It looks almost like your skin. In fact, I would say the third tip for applying makeup, applying your makeup base in a very smooth way and smooth out the texture is the type of application. So obviously you can use your hands to apply foundation, or you can use a brush, or you can use a sponge. Really depends on the base that you're going to apply, the foundation that you're going to apply. Some foundations are better applied with a brush, some foundations are better applied with the sponge. In this case, for instance, this is a base that doesn't look good applied with a brush, even if it's sold with its brush. And let me demonstrate you how it goes. See how thick in consistency it is, I think, right? And show you how it applies with a brush. So you have a high concentration of pigment with the brush, but a less natural finish, which is key if you actually want to make your base look very, very smooth. With almost all products, actually, I'm a great fan of having a more natural finish and maybe adding more thin layers through the sponge. Effect that a little bit of water gives creates almost like a gel finish that is very similar to what well-hydrated skin looks. And so I'm just going to show you. Now remember, here I put it with a brush, I applied it with a brush, and here I am applying it with my sponge. I don't know if you can tell the difference from the camera, but I would say this is a more luminous and natural finish, and this is actually a little bit more thick. We don't want thick because thick emphasizes texture. But what it does is that the foundation, it's diluting in the water, and so it actually blends better. All right, after that I'm going to use concealers on some parts, and I apply very thin layers. I apply very thin layers of everything, actually, because that's also the key. As I have very deep set eyes, I also have deep set under eyes. So actually this level of illumination helps me. The drier the product, the more texture there will be. And what actually makes the difference in these cases are the powders that you use to set and you use to finish your makeup. So let's move on to the powders. You have setting powders and you have finishing powders. The loose setting powder will always have thinner particles. Setting powders are more matte than glowy. Translucent setting powders, which are not supposed to give any additional color and are only supposed to set the makeup into place, mattify, and make it last longer. And the other beautiful thing that setting powder do is delivering texture correction, be it pores and be it fine lines. So I have the Batterie Poudre Soin Extra Lissante, so Hydro Care Setting Powder. I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Loose Setting Powder, and I have the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder as well, the classic one. I'm going to use the Batterie, it's called Hyaluronic Hydra Powder, actually. Why does it have two names in here? I don't know. But this powder is super finely milled, as you can see. Dip in my powder, press a little bit, and start pressing under my eyes and on the zones where I have pores. Can you see it? It already transforms everything, and I will show you how it is applied with a brush so that you can see the difference and why I prefer the sponge application. And I think you can already see the difference. Sponge, brush. Which side is smoother? Of course, I'm going to finish up by using the sponge again. Now you can already see the texture is smoothed out, right? This is what a translucent powder does. It fills in the pores, it fills in the fine lines. Now I will finish the rest of the face and come back to you to present you finishing powders. The role of a finishing powder, as its name suggests, is to finish off the makeup, is to give a beautiful finish to the makeup. These are powders that you put on top of everything else that you've done in order to blur everything together, in order to blend everything together, every layer, and it's beautifully illuminated. You cannot distinguish between layers anymore. The finish and the texture is a lot smoother. A finishing powder is to makeup what a base is to music. You don't realize it's there when it's there, but you do realize it's missing if it's missing. So once you start using a finishing powder, you will never do your makeup without anymore. The ones I generally recommend are the Guerlain Météorites, which looks like this. I mean, this is like 55 years of powder, but I've been having mine since a lot of years. Past expiry date, but it's still good. It smells good, it's great. Then we have the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder Glow. It's not a setting powder at all, and if you want to check out a review I've recently made, check out this video right here. We also have the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder type. They are amazing. This powder is very thin. Particles are microscopic. The finish is radiant. It diffuses light completely, and this is the role of a finishing powder. The only drugstore recommendation up until now, because maybe something is coming up soon in some months, is the Bourjois Poudre de Graines de Java, which is called in English Java rice powder, quite simply. I have a pinkish powder. The particles are more visible, and I'm going to demonstrate here with the Meteorite powder, and I'm going to apply it just like this, you know, in a buffing motion. See if you can tell the difference. Now I'm going to apply it on the other side of the face as well, but you will see that it will really get rid of all of the texture. I mean, can you tell the difference between the before and the after. I have no doubt this video was helpful for everyone. So if you want to thank me for it, subscribe to the channel. I have another video you should definitely check out next. Get the most beautiful skin. It's red carpet material. Go watch it next. Until next time, bye.